Kent Spitfires slipped to their second NatWest T20 blast defeat in front of the TV cameras as they lost to rivals Essex by 6 wickets with 6 balls to spare in Canterbury. Rob Key batted after winning the toss on a very pleasant evening, and there looked as if there would be only one winner here, as he and his opening partner Daniel Bell-Drummond got off to a rampaging start as both hit some very early boundaries. Indeed, it took Key only 9 balls to smack his first 6. He belted the paceman T-Mal Mills over mid-wicket to bring 28 runs off the opening 3 overs. The decision to use Tim Phillips in the power play backfired on Essex, as his second over went for 21 runs and included this maximum from Bell-Drummond. Mills then delivered a 9-ball over to help Kent reach 65 without loss at the end of these 6 overs of power play. Key happy to be caught in the deep off for no ball. Not even the usually economical David Masters could stem the flow of runs, as Key employed his favourite T20 shot to deposit him over the boundary as the Spitfires raced to 97 without loss at the halfway stage of their innings. There followed a couple of quiet overs before Jesse Ryder was tonked for 16 runs in the 12th, an over which took Key to another T20 50 off only 34 balls. He followed that up with 2 more 4s off the next 4 deliveries to race into the 60s, taking his partnership with Bell-Drummond to 119 off 12 overs. Another total of in excess of 200 looked very likely. But then both batsmen were out in the same Mills over. On 48, Bell-Drummond edged a drive behind to James Foster. And 4 balls later, Key, who'd pleased those at the ground with a sublime 62 off 40, had a swing and a miss to be bowled. This was the moment that Kent lost their way a tad. Darren Stevens was then bowled by Masters at the start of the 15th over with a total on 133 for 3. Before, in the next over, Alex Blake was superbly held by a sprinting Ryan Tedescarter, who somehow managed to take the catch off his own bowling. Only 63 runs had come in 8 overs, which looked as if it would leave the Spitfires a little short, given their start. But 18 runs came off the penultimate over, with Sam Northeast playing an excellent hand. The first of these 2 successive 6s off Reece Topley was an extraordinary shot, while the second one wasn't too bad either. Sam Billings was out in the last over, bowled by Mills, the pick of the Eagles' attack. The keeper departed for a 26 made off 19 balls. But the momentum was back with the home side before the break, as Adam Ball ruined Mills' figure somewhat by hitting the last 2 deliveries of the innings to the boundary. That meant that the Spitfires ended up with a total of 189 from their 20 overs, perhaps not as many as they would have wanted, but a challenging score all the same. And it was made even more challenging when Stevens disturbed Mark Patini's stumps with the 3rd ball of the reply before a run had been scored. But in spite of that, the Eagles were soon flying. Adam Riley's opening over, the second of the innings, went for 14 runs, with Ryder showing his power by striking 3 4s off 3 balls. Kent must be sick and tired of seeing him do his business after his 10 wickets here in the championship match. Tom Wesley made 100 in that, and he too struck 3 successive 4s in the next over, delivered by Stevens. That went for 13 runs after Stevens had opened up with something rather rare in this form of the game, of a wicket maiden. Double digits were coming off each over at this stage as Essex went for their shots in the power play. Ryder hit David Griffiths for the first 6 of the innings. The Kiwi and Wesley were giving their side just the start they wanted, with some thumping shots and the occasional fluky one, which saw the score move quickly onto 55 midway through the 6th over. Kent needed to bring an end to this partnership. That they did when Ryder was sold short by his partner and was run out by Riley for a 32, which had occupied only 14 deliveries. 4 balls later and Wesley was also out. Billings with an exceptional leg side stumping, which removed the batsman for 27 at 61 for 3, the ball after the power play had ended. Had Tedescarter been held at long on soon afterwards, then the Spitfires would have been big favourites. But he then started to set about the home attack in partnership with Ravi Bopara, who swung Stevens into the distance to see the all-rounder end with figures of 2 for 30 from his 4 overs. After 10 overs, the Eagles had made 87 for 3 and needed a further 103 to win. Had James Treadwell held on to this chance, then that may have been too many for them. As it was, 14 came off the over, with Bopara striking his second maximum. The battle between the two England men was being won by the batsmen. Bopara too was dropped while on 36, and the misses in the field were to prove decisive. Tenduscarter, on his third life, now took 17 off a Doug Bollinger over to reduce the target to 45 off the last 5 overs. 58 had come off the previous 5. Bopara moved to a half-century off 34 balls as he continued his excellent form against Kent this week. He thumped the next ball of the 17th over also to the boundary to make it a rather easier finish for Essex than it might have been had the chances been grasped. But there was hope when Riley did hold on to an opportunity at third man, which removed Tenduscarter for a 47 which had been made off 29 deliveries. It left 25 wanted off the last 3 overs, but Bopara maintained his momentum against Treadwell, with 13 coming off over number 18, which left 12 to get of the last 12 balls. The Eagles needed only 6 of them. Taking a guard somewhere near point, the brilliant Bopara helped the second ball of the penultimate over the rope for his third 6, before he finished off the game by driving Griffiths down the ground to end on a fantastic 81, which had used up just the 44 deliveries. Not quite as good as Dan Christian last week, but ultimately more effective. So Essex took the game by 6 wickets with an over to spare, and that saw them leapfrog the Spitfires in the South Group table. Kent dropped to 4th with 3 wins from 5 games. Their next is on Friday in Cardiff against Glamorgan, who are now a place above them in the table.